All right. We are live. We have had some reports come out today. And let me just tweet this, get this out into the world on Twitter. It's not the best. It's not the best. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You know, there are some reports that just I'm looking outside my window right now and it's like a weird type of blue in the sky, and that's how it feels right now. It feels like a weird type of feeling because inflation is not amazing. Jason, David, Cameron, Chris, Uriel, Kane, Jay, Bangulo, buckle up, kiddos. That is right. It's time to buckle up. It's crazy how bad this is, but Chris says get ready to buy some homes for 20% off. It is also a massive opportunity in the market. CPI reports just came out. Nostradam Chris with the 8.2%. That is correct. Chris did think it was 8.2. Granted, I said it would be at 8. That was my prediction, or like around that range. So off 0.2%. But yeah, CPI rose 0.4% year over year. Okay. It is not, it was not good. And most stocks are down. Google has hit a 52-week low at $94. Facebook, Meta, has hit a 52-week low at $123. Now, let's go into the market right now, and let's see where it's at. I expect to see some new lows. S&P is officially at 340. Okay? S&P is officially at in the 340s, 349. This is pre-market. Tesla down 4%, 208 in the pre-market. Nvidia 55 pre-market. Palantir down 4.4%, 6%. Pre-market. Meta 122.85 pre-market. S&P, as you can see, 348 down 2% pre-market. If the S&P drops below 340s, we're in the 330 range. And then I think, obviously that's what a lot of analysts have been calling 3,200, 3,300 for like this type of capitulation. But it's bad. Nvidia, $109. Oh my God. Nvidia's 109, down another 5%. This is a stock that was 340. This is a stock that seemed unbeatable. $109 for Nvidia. Oh my goodness. Let's buy some stuff. 100 basis, but yeah, I mean, you can't take away the choice or the concept for 100 basis points. It's very possible. It is absolutely very possible. And as a result of that, because it's possible, the Fed might end up doing it. Terminal rate can be 5.5, if not 6.5. Tom is live, but hard choice. I'm here. I appreciate you, UCUS. Should we buy more Palantir? Honestly, I don't know what anyone should do. I'm holding off on buying anything. As SoFi at 488 now. Enphase at 248, finally coming down a little bit more. Actually, 236. Wow, Enphase down 4%, 4.5 pre-market, 236. I have a Enphase target of 180, so we need a little bit more pain to get there. I wouldn't buy anything right now. I'm a little bit scared to buy stuff. Obviously, that's when you're supposed to buy, but I'm being a bit more conservative here and not just loading the boat and buying the dip because people say to do that. Spotify under $80, 79.50 cents. It makes sense that Kathy liquidated her position. Obviously, she bought it at $300, which is like mind-blowing. Why would she buy it at $300? What are her research analysts that all graduated from Harvard actually telling her about some of these companies? You really got to question sometimes. But the stock is now under $80. It's not Spotify's fault. It's more of the market's fault. But nonetheless, I mean, stocks are just going to get hammered in this environment. Granted, these stocks probably shouldn't be trading this low. It's a question of if we are in an overall recession, because if we are in an overall recession, earnings decrease across the board, which means the PE ratios, the pegs, everything we use to try to value these stocks, and we say, oh, they're only trading 10 times, blah, 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 that's cheap. It doesn't become cheap anymore. Google could theoretically drop another 30%, and we could say that's fair value if the overall way we value earnings on a economic level changes. NASDAQ, 10,351 in the pre-market, down about 0.9%. I'm really interested to see how this market opens. really, really interested to see how this market opens. Tom is doing the open today, but I had to just come here for the bell. I appreciate you guys. It means a lot. He actually just texted me. He was like, "Are you streaming?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm about to start." I didn't know he was streaming, taking away all the eyeballs. But that's okay. Yeah, this is a rough market. Good morning to everyone except Jerome Powell. Look, this is not Jerome's fault. This is not Jerome's fault. He's trying to fix inflation. I think we are guaranteeing we're going to get to 75, guarantee 75 on November 2nd. If not 75, then 100. There is a world in which we get 100. I think the Fed is, or people are analyzing it as a 13% chance we get 100, but more likely than not, 75. Coinbase, $63. Where's ARK? Where's Kathy? ARK, I think, is at a 52-week low. $33. Oh my gosh. Whoo. Whoever bought puts on the SPY yesterday, like Gabe, they're probably printing some money right now. But there we go. There it is. That's what's going on in the market. Let's go to Apple. Wow, 134. So Apple's low is 129. It's not as bad as it was in June yet for Apple, but the S&P is obviously hitting new lows. 340 on the S&P. Wow. I mean, if we get 330 and 32, then we're there. We got another 10% down. We did it. It's here. It's happening. I guess now it's a question of if the market is ready to let that happen. Check TTCF. Oh boy, I don't want to check TTCF. What do we got? Oh, 390. And again, you can't blame Jeremy on this. These are all growth stocks are getting hit. Every single stock you buy is getting destroyed. So it's just that's the one he happened to like at $16, and the economy crashed. That's it. The economy crashed. Love you, Nash, but this is a MITS time slot. I'm gonna take a picture of that. I gotta take a picture of that, Felicia. That's legit. Someone sent a super sticker, Shoe Vestry, for $3. Thank you so much, Shoe Vestry. I appreciate that. All right, here we go. Coming from Tom Stream for the bell. All right, here we go. So we are about 48 seconds away from the market open. I am very interested to see where the market ends up in the first 5 minutes. Do we go up? Do we go down? Do we go massively down? How do things kind of play out? Obviously, this is a great time to have some cash because these are the days where you theoretically might want to buy, but it's also important to recognize that 75 basis points is coming. November CPI might not be amazing, which means there might be another leg down. So you have to be very cautious. I think that's the most logical advice and analysis that anyone can give right now. You've got to be cautious. Even if you're DCAing, you've got to be cautious because a Tesla DCA at 208 might not make sense if Tesla goes to 190. Just because the writing's on the wall that growth stocks are going to get hit and things are not the best right now. So here we go. It is October 13th, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Thursday, almost the end of the week. I hope everyone's having a good week. Hope everyone's trying to figure some things out and get things done. The stock market is officially open. Wake your ass up. The United States stock market is open. Let's go to our list. TTCF opening up at 4.28, down 4.6%. ARK opening down 5.62%, 34. Meta 123, down 2.95%. Palantir down. This is why I wasn't buying it at the 8s because I was like, I didn't trust it. 7.69, 4.69%. AMD 55, down 4%. Tesla 209, down 3%. SPY 349. There we go, 348. That is our new 52-week low on the S&P 500. Uber 24, Upstart 22, Enphase 237 got pretty molly smacked since 255 yesterday. So Enphase is getting hit. Spotify below $80 at $79.54. Bitcoin not holding its $19,000 range anymore. It is now fallen down to the 18s. We will see where Bitcoin goes over the next coming weeks as inflation gets hit. Snowflake 147, Wejo $1, straight line down. Gabe, how much money are you up right now? Can you put it in the chat? How much money are you actually up right now? Gabe was correct. I'm printing some puts. I'm printing some money on some puts because the S&P is falling. Look at this. Blood, 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 blood. Lots and lots and lots of blood. There we go. All right, let's this is insane. Gonna do some micro DCing today. S&P got another 20% drop to still happen. That could be the case. Tesla mooning. Tesla's not mooning. I don't know if you call a dollar up moving. Yo, Amit, how's it hanging? Fox, what's up? Gabe's up $19,000. Wow. That's a hell of a day to be up 19 grand. This is not too bad. Everything is down almost 20% over last month. Palantir's up 3% at the same time. Yeah, Palantir might perform inversely to the market if the market crashes, given the geopolitical crisis may exist, but we are going to see. All right, let's see what CNBC is talking about. We've got inflation. Let's get our live report on what's going on with inflation, and then we'll keep going.
Let's start out with CPI for the month of September, up 0.4 on headline, double the expectations, and that is the highest since, well, June, when it was at its peak at 1.3. That was the highest since 2005. If you strip out the all-important food and energy, also 0.2 hotter, up 0.6. That's the hottest since June, when it was up 0.7, high water mark all the way back in April of 21 at up 0.9. Year-over-year numbers, 8.2, hotter than expected, but cooler than the rear view mirror. 8.2. Until we get a revision, it follows 8.3. The high watermark here was 9.1. That was in June, going back 4 decades. And finally, year over year, strip out food and energy, also hotter than expected.
Okay, let me give a big shout out to Tom, because everyone in the chat is saying Tom sent me, Tom sent me, Tom sent me. Wow, Tom just had 2,000 people, so he just sent all of them to. I appreciate you, Tom. That's I appreciate you guys. All right, so I'm not gonna play this video then, because you guys have already seen it on Tom's stream most likely. So you probably want to know who I am. Wow, 390. Tom is awesome, man. Tom is awesome. Shout out to 400. I gotta call this guy right now. Oh, I got look on a day where inflation sucks. I gotta call. You get some people who are doing some nice things. This is funny. This is so funny. I wonder what he told you guys exactly. He's like,
I'm streaming you, calling me on your stream, on my stream.
Bro, what? There's 500 people here, my guy. I'm watching CNBC and it goes from 117 to 304. I'm like, where the fuck did these people come from? That's hilarious. He ended the chat. Oh, that's funny. All right, well, let's get into some analysis now that you guys are here. I got to put on a show for you 520 people. Thank you all for being here. All right, here we go. We are in the markets. Obviously, Tom probably talked a lot about inflation. There's a couple of strategies here. Either you buy the dip. The question is this a dip that you ultimately want to buy? Or you wait for lower lows. Why would you wait for lower lows? There are no positive catalysts coming in place. The one positive catalyst people could say is that we are oversold. The problem is we have not shown an ability to decrease inflation month over month. We went from that 1 month at 9.1 down to 8.5. And since then, there really hasn't been any massive change. Measure that with the Ukraine-Russia war that is not really coming to fruition, or not really coming to end. Measure that with OPEC cutting millions of barrels per day. And then measure that with CPI data that in November is probably not going to be that amazing as well. The Fed has a 100% chance of 75 basis points and even a probably 13 to 20% chance of 100% of 100 basis points. And so we're going to see how it ultimately ends out. S&P at 349, Alibaba 72, Neo at 12, Uber 24, Nvidia 108. Nvidia, this is a stock. Let me know in the chat if you own Nvidia, because I cannot believe that Nvidia is at 108, but there we go. It's at 108. Yes.
I just finished my stream and I asked everybody for my stream. I had 2,000 viewers when I finished. I asked all of them to come over to your stream. It seems like 400 agree and 1,600 were little bitches.
Bro, there's 580 people here live. I'm just like, I've never had these many people live in the morning.
We just decided to make your day, bro. We just decided to come in and make your day on this red day so you actually feel better. So enjoy the stream. Give Amit a like if you haven't. There's 600 people in the stream, only 200 likes. That's not cool. Go give him a like. I'll see you all later.
I appreciate you, man. Talk to you later. Thanks so much.
Later.
Bye. Tom's a stand-up guy, man. He's a good guy. I know a lot of people say a lot of shit about him on the internet. I actually know him as a person. Like, we talk on the phone. He's a good guy. He's not a bad person. So can't judge everything you see on the internet. All right, let's go on to some specifics on inflation. We'll talk about that, and then we'll get into some deeper stuff. So consumer prices rose 0.4%, excluding food and energy. Core price at 0.6 to 0.6. Worker wages took another hit, falling 0.1%, 3% year over year. And markets now expect the Fed can institute consecutive 0.7 percentage basis points hits. Now, what does this mean for CAFE? Okay, let's talk about that. Closely watched shelter costs, which make up for about 1/3 of CPI, rose 0.7% or up 6.6% from a year ago. We've got housing and Kathy to discuss. Kathy says we are going to see deflation within the next 6 months. Consecutively, we're going to see month-over-month deflation. It doesn't look like that's the case given some of the things that are going on in different issues. For example, used vehicle prices fell 1.1% and apparel posted a 0.3% decline. Eggs dropped about 3.5%. But airfares rose after consecutive monthly declines, rising 0.8% over the month and 42%. I actually noticed this. I went to Vegas last couple weeks ago, and the airfares were a bit expensive. It was like it didn't feel like it should have cost that much to go to Las Vegas in September. But nonetheless, like, you've got some things that drop off, that other things drop on, and then you've got this wishy-wash of things that are still end up being bad because you have inflation. Tom loves you. Shout out to Tom. I appreciate Tom. Put in the chat. Here we go. Let's put this question in the chat. What are your top 3 positions right now? Please put that in the chat. What are your top 3 positions, and are you adding to them? So don't even say what after you say what the position is, say, are you adding to the position? I know a lot of you are probably Tesla. A lot of you are probably Google. Google, I have 10 shares of, and we're down at 52-week lows on Google, which is absolutely insane to be down at 52-week lows on Google. Where are we at on Google? We're at basically, we have to do alphabets, right? Alphabets. We are basically at $94, $95, down 2%. ARK down to 52-week lows at 33. Meta at 123. Palantir at 761. So we're hitting some new lows today. SQQQ, SARK, and Cash. Wow. What a portfolio. What a portfolio. GameStop. Okay. I just watched that Netflix documentary the other day, so it's interesting. Palantir, SoFi, Cash. Okay, have only 2, Tesla and Palantir. That's what I thought. I thought Tesla and Palantir might be the main ones for everyone. Apple, Microsoft, Meta. Okay, it's a very big tech type of portfolio. I think Microsoft is probably the best out of the big tech stocks right now. I don't think it's Amazon. I don't think it's Google. Apple is that phone better start selling. And Meta is just beautiful in terms of tech, but I think it's a mess in terms of reputation. Microsoft is one of those clean stocks that's there, but Microsoft also is not going to be valued as well during this time. What are my top holdings? Palantir, SoFi, DNA, Google, and Tesla. Top 3 of those are Palantir, SoFi, DNA. DNA is called Ginkgo Bioworks. It's a different type of company for those who don't know what it is. I've done some videos on it on my channel. Tesla adding, Alset, hold, Tesla, blah, 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 blah. Amit, could you pull up the stock market cycle and talk about where we are at after today's news? Well, look, what we are at right now, let's go to the S&P. There's a couple of places where we might be at. Either we're in capitulation, where retail investors are starting to sell, institutions are starting to sell, et cetera, and we get to an overall bottom. The problem is we are not down as much as we should be down. It's important for people to understand we are only down about 20, 21% on the year. That's not really the lowest recessions we've ever seen. That's like we've had some of those throughout the past decade, but it's never been that bad. About 35%, in 2008, we were down, the S&P split in half, 50%. That's where we've really had let's look at the S&P right here. This is where we were in 2008. We were at 116 on September 28th. Let's go to our day, October 13, 2007. Roundabout, we were at 115. Bottomed in February 2009, so about 7 months later, we're at 43. So we split in half, right? That was a real economic recession. Now, obviously, subprime mortgages, derivatives, all these bad things that weird actors were doing with caused that type of crash. Now we have an inflation, liquidity, we have too much liquidity, quantitative tightening problem. So it's a different type of scenario, and we are already down a lot, but we're not down to the point where we were down before. For example, if the highs were 478, you divide 478 by 2, 239 is where we would be if we had a 2008 level crash. Right now, we're at 348. So the question becomes, are you happy buying during this dip because you were happy owning Tesla forever and 215 versus 140? You don't care the price you pay because you think Tesla's a $3 trillion company, which is fine. That's a total fine strategy. And if you buy the indices, that's fine as well. You just buy and sell and hold the dip. Or do you feel like there's a better opportunity to get prices and you don't want to be so eager right now, especially if the biggest hedge fund managers in the world? I did a podcast yesterday with a guy named Sean on my channel, and it was just like it was a great podcast. He was like, look, if every big money manager is saying sell, then maybe, like if they're selling and you're buying in the dip. I think one thing I think is very important to understand, that doesn't mean you have to sell your entire portfolio. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you have to be strategic about adding to positions. Buy and hold the dip, this like sort of big theme of like just buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. That was ushered in an era of massive amounts of artificial liquidity and interest rates being super, super low for the past 14 years. So it's not that that strategy is wrong. It's just that, is that strategy a strategy that you can hold on to long term when the market continues to just crash and crash and crash, right? That I think is the ultimate question at the end of the day. And so we are going to see. We are going to see. Let's go to CNBC. Let's see what these guys are talking about. See if there's anything interesting here. And see where we go. The Fed's interest rate path will reduce inflation, but it will cause pain. All right, let's take a look at this. The Fed's interest rate path will reduce inflation, but it will cause some pain. Shout out to 516 people being here. I know you all are here from Tom. I appreciate you. Feel free to check out the channel before you subscribe. If there's anything interesting for you to do, then subscribe. We talk about Palantir. We talk about stocks. We have a really tight-knit community, about 100, 200 people here. And, it's a nice little community on YouTube. So don't subscribe without checking out the channel. And then if you like some of the stuff you see, then feel free to subscribe. All right, let's take a look at this.
These are incredibly fragile times, highly volatile times, and you're certainly seeing this in the markets on a minute-to-minute and an hourly basis. So we'll see what the numbers look like. I think it's fairly clear that inflation is going to be high for a while in terms of relative to the Fed's target. So in some sense, this one number, I don't think is going to make that much of a difference to what the Fed has signaled at this point.
We talked earlier, Gita, that there's a lag effect when a central bank tightens, and all of the not leading or lagging, but the coincident indicators keep showing that inflation is still a problem. Is it possible the Fed could overshoot, in your view? Do you agree? It's 98%, another 75 basis points. Do you think they need to stick to that to handle what we're seeing, this hot inflation that we're seeing in around the world, really?
I think the odds of calibrating it too much or too little at some point is there. These are real risks. There's so much uncertainty. The global environment is changing so rapidly that, that I think should be expected. But that said, just if we go with the path that the Fed has signaled, we're comfortable with that. We think that that path is what is needed to bring down inflation durably. And yes, it will have pain in the sense of raising the unemployment rate from its current extremely low level of 3.5%. But that is what is needed to bring down inflation, because otherwise you're going to be in a spot where you're tackling runaway inflation, and that's not where you would like to be.
What is the IMF's view, Gita, on supply side remedies versus just killing demand?
Real quick, someone said, have a meeting coming up. Have a good day. Have a good day, Adrian. Thank you for being here. Any views on Anduril? Anduril is a very interesting subcontractor that Palantir uses for artificial intelligence, machine learning at the intersection of military development. Very excited for them. They probably will go public eventually. It'll take some time, but amazing company as well.
That the central bankers use. And I'm mentioning that in light of what happened in the UK when that was not adding to debt equity ratios in any, or debt to GDP in the UK. It was not a huge amount that it was any, and we already have a much higher debt ratio here in the United States. So Truss tried to address some of the supply side concerns with taxation and other things, and you saw what happened.
Without a doubt, improving supply always helps, right? Making sure that you have an environment to have higher levels of productivity and higher levels of supply absolutely helps. But at this point, the question is what kinds of supply can you bring on and as quickly as you can? So we'd like to get more people back into the labor market that have left following the pandemic. We'd like to see more sources of energy supply on the market, but this is not happening very quickly at this moment. So I think countries do have to deal with addressing the excess, the very high levels of demand that they have in their economy. For instance, the energy crisis, I think for sure there has to be moderation in demand to be able to address it. And we certainly need to put systems in place to be able to get more supply, but it takes time.
The IMF.
Same thing, right? When she's talking about supply side and demand side economics, she's basically talking about how much supply do we have to be able to fulfill all the demand, but how can we level that with lessening demand for the supply that we ultimately have at the end of the day? And how does that impact the larger overall markets? And right now, the markets are in a frenzy because you got Home Depot, Walmart, Target, Nike saying we've got inventories. And, you know, Kathy's like, well, that means there's deflation. And the Fed is like, wait a second, no, there's not even enough for us to consider not raising rates. So it's a lot of different things. Supply helps, but no one is bringing on supply on any level. None. Donuts. That is true. Hey, Amit, is it possible that market cap multiples remain low forever in the event of deglobalization? So this is a very, very good question. I wouldn't say forever. However, deglobalization is real. This is why, you know, people like me and Tom are bullish on stocks like Palantir, because if the world is deglobalizing, the entire argument behind Palantir, and this was in the Stanley Druckenmiller interview as well, in which he talked about this, was that if the world deglobalizes, that means supply chains, logistics, business operations, everything becomes flipped upside its head. What happened during the pandemic was everything flipped upside its head. Why? Because things were in chaos. If you cannot work in China anymore, or you can't work in Ukraine, like that means that everything of your business changes, and you need a data-driven approach and optimization, a basically superpower that you can plug into your system in your company to be able to change that. Which is why Palantir might perform inversely to the market as it goes down if there's geopolitical crises that cause all this turmoil, because companies need that product and need that service. Now, as a result of this means that if the world deglobalizes, in general, you would expect the market cap of a company like, I don't know, Google to not be as big anymore because the world is less friendly to each other. There's more antagonisms. Like globalization was good for tech companies because that means tech companies got to work across the world outside of China, right? Because China has banned all of them. So, I mean, globalization has been very good for the economy, even though obviously jobs have gone overseas and you know, labor has gotten shorter. It's allowed the economy to become more intertwined and intersected with each other. But if that stops, then the question becomes, how do those companies ultimately benefit? So we could go lower and just hold your money, basically. Yeah, I mean, we could go absolutely more lower. And I personally am holding on to some cash. How will Tesla react if they have great numbers on their Q3 report next Wednesday? You know, I'm actually talking to a very big bull named Farzad. Shout out to him, building a great Tesla community. He's going to be talking on my live stream on Tuesday at night, probably like 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, before the Tesla earnings on the 19th. So we're live streaming on the 18th. I'm going to ask him. Look, Tesla's, their delivery numbers over China were better. So the demand in China was good. They missed on 5% of deliveries overall, but I mean, that's not crazy. It's just when the market expects them to be perfect and they don't end up being perfect, and you have a $700 billion car company that people think shouldn't be $700 billion, the market might give them a hit. But if their earnings are great, which theoretically you could expect their earnings to be probably good, then, you know, hopefully they stand the test of time and then they're able to pull it off. But I don't know. I'm not bullish on them, man. I'm really not bullish on any company right now. Do you think that Tesla is using Palantir software to drive their business forward at the pace they're currently doing? Would this mean that Palantir software proves it's over worth $1 trillion market cap? Tesla might be using Palantir. I did an article about this a long time ago. I did a video. If you just type in Amit Tesla Palantir on YouTube, you'll probably find that video where there was some evidence that they are using them through some like domain backlinks, some like investigative journalism stuff. Palantir being a $1 trillion company is very difficult. I think if they could get to 250 billion from where they are at 16 billion right now, I would happily, you know, take that as a return over the next 10 years. 1 trillion is very difficult. They would have to be the most phenomenal B2B software enterprise company in the planet. And I think if anyone could do it, it's them. It's just a question of if they're able to do it. Thanks for answering the question, bro. Absolutely. 108 on NVIDIA is probably accurate, probably going to 100 sooner. Yeah, NVIDIA's, let's go back into the market. I cannot believe NVIDIA has been just destroyed. I mean, goodness gracious. It's back to 111, so that's nice. Market's coming up a little bit. S&P recovering at 351. Arc Innovation 34. Meta 125. Recovering. Palantir 776. AMD 56. Wow. NASDAQ 10,180. We didn't hit 9,000 on the NASDAQ this year. We didn't hit 9K. Oh my. We are 100. No, the low was 10,088. It was 88 points away from 9K on the NASDAQ. Remember, the NASDAQ was 16K back in November 30th. Be honest. Who was buying November 2021? Be honest. You know how I'm going to force you guys to be honest? Because I'll be honest. I was buying Palantir at $23, $24 November 2021. That was the only stock I was buying. So even I did not expect this. At 18, I was like, this is amazing. At 14, I was like, this is freaking phenomenal. And then at 12, I was like, I'm loading the boat, which I did back in February. That's where a lot of my money went. And then at 7, I'm like, I'll wait till 5. Oh my gosh. The reality of being in a crash, right? Tesla at 208, Microsoft 221. Who has Spotify in their portfolio? Who has Spotify? Put in the portfolio if you have Spotify. Put in the portfolio if you have Spotify or Netflix. Curious if you have Spotty and Netflix. Did you see the 180 BlackRock did with ESG? Chris, can you explain this in the comments? I think I saw a tweet about it, but I didn't really see it. I knew they pulled out of some funds or something like that. They sold off some positions on ESG stocks. 26 and 26, down averages at 12. My Palantir average is 19. Same for me. Average 20. I've been buying quarterly for the past 24 months. Rode shit up, then right back down. Yeah, November 20th, 20 is when I started shorting the market. We had 2 standard deviations above long term. Wow, that's an amazing short. If you short, well, no, we rallied up until January, right? So you would have to keep it until January and then have it go down. Jordan says he has Spotify. Okay, interesting. I would love to know any theses that you guys have for Spotify, because I don't really necessarily get it. Around 14 in Palantir. Tesla's being watched closely by others. Car manufacturers wanting to get into EVs and FSD. If they're using Palantir, they could lead other vehicles considering to use them. That is very true. Obviously, I think any other car manufacturers, they're going to pose a threat to Tesla, but they're not actually going to pose a threat to Tesla, right? Like, they're going to make it a little more competitive, but at the end of the day, people are going to buy Tesla. Like in New Jersey and where I live is in New Jersey and California. I have a lot of friends in California. They just see a Tesla every other second. That's all they see. Every other car is a Tesla. So there are some real world implications. Now, if you believe in the chicken genius thesis, then Tesla's going to 140. Netflix at 216. This stock got to 250 and people were screaming that it's a buy. There's this one guy on Twitter who's like, why could you not buy Netflix at 240? And I'm like, because I have a brain? Like, because all they do is buy media and put it on their platform. There's nothing unique about them other than the fact that they're the biggest ones, which, yeah, you could say is unique, but you could also say, where's the growth coming from then if they're the biggest ones? I don't know. You're spending a lot of money for content, whereas YouTube has to spend nothing for content. It's hard for me to think that's like a valid source of entertainment every time. But again, Netflix is not horrible, but I don't know if the stock's amazing. Spotify business model similar to Netflix, yes. And the worst thing is they're in music, which is why they don't even get to keep a lot of the royalties they get from there. BlackRock was pushing the ESG narrative. Now they're switching to oil and natural gas. Wow. Well, makes sense, right? You got to do what you got to do when it comes to the money. BlackRock, major. I mean, that makes sense that they did a switch. Whatever makes money. That's, bro, all these corporations care about is money. Let's make that very freaking clear. They don't give a shit about Pride Day. They don't give a shit about anything else. Like they say they do. They care about money. Everyone cares about money. Love Spotify as a user. I would stick by that subscription over any other entertainment service. So I agree. The user experience is amazing, but I would challenge you to get YouTube Premium and see how quickly you would keep Spotify. Now, I know Spotify's music discovery algorithms are amazing, not denying that, but there is a little bit more bang for your buck if you try some other services. But there it is. Okay, Chris, Chris, can you DM me the video? Because I can't copy and paste it from Twitter. Can you just DM it real quick? Because I'm on my StreamYard, so it's hard to do it. Finally accumulated over 500 Palantir shares in total, now standing at a 503 at average. Wow, that's a great average. 960 is an amazing average. ESG is environmental social good. And it's basically the idea that companies want to care about the environment. Look, I'm not against the concept of ESG. It's just the way it's been manipulated, right? Like Salesforce has great, in my opinion, ESG because they actually care about the environment. They really donate a ton of money to schools in Oakland, all this stuff. But it's companies that manipulate it to try to be able to make some narrative for themselves that they're a good company, when in reality, like Apple says ESG, and then you have slave labor in China. It's like, it's not that easy to just be saying that. All right, let's look at this video from Chris. he said on oil backlash, facts are not important. Larry Fink is the guy who runs BlackRock. Important guy. All right, let's hear this.
You're just saying we need more pipelines, we need more fossil fuels, we need more energy. Why is there a common belief that you're anti-energy?
Because facts are not important with some subgroups in this country.
Welcome to Washington, D.C.
Well, this is a different country. No, we own $181 billion of U.S. energy companies. We do as much with them as anyone. I've always said they are going to be part of the solution. They're going to have the technology for decarbonization. They actually own the wells that are no longer productive, big caverns, and that's how we are going to sequester. We are never going to get to a net zero world ever if we don't sequester and carbon capture.
Right.
And so they are going to have a significant role, and also they're going to have a significant role in different molecules like hydrogen. So, I'm now being attacked equally by the left and the right, so I'm doing something right, I hope. I don't know. It's painful, but you know what? We're moving forward, and I can't talk about it tomorrow. I announce earnings, so let me end it there.
Well, there you go. That's what it's that's a lot of people are changing their opinion on different things that they have to buy. Sachin, shout out to Sachin being in the chat, how easily he manipulates what he said earlier. Yep, because it was trendy to buy some of these companies before, and now you're like, oil, it's doing better, and you're gonna buy oil. They care about money, man. That's all they care about. The older I get, the more I realize nothing else matters to most people on the planet other than how much is in their bank account. Now, I know that sounds cynical, but it's about the money. People care about the money. That's it. Let's see if we get more of a sell-off towards the broader market. Yeah, let's see. Let us see. Let's do one last look at the market, and then we're going to end it off. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Feel free to subscribe. Check out the link in the description. I have a startup. Feel free to check that out as well. If you want to see what we're doing, we're trying to change audio discovery, so feel free to check that out in the description. We raised about $300,000 for it, so we're building it out right now, and it's pretty cool. Tom is also an investor in that startup for anyone who wants to check it out. Google at 96, Tattooed Chef at 44. Google at 96, S&P at 351, AMD 55, Tesla 207. So falling below its market open price. Uber 24, Alibaba 72, Enphase 236, SoFi 496, recovering from 488. Let's go to Meta. Let's do a little checkup on that. Meta 124. Let me know in the chat if you are buying Meta. I know this is a controversial company, but it is trading 3 times price of sales. They did 128 billion in revenue. They're trading at 334 billion. I know no one likes them, but at some level you call a spade, and you're like, well, the stock seems to be undervalued. I have not initiated my position yet because I think there's more pain to come overall for the market. But Meta is a stock that I think it's just so interesting right now to see where it's at, given the past couple of years. NVIDIA 110, ARC Innovation, its lows today, it hit 33.74, 52-week lows on ARC Innovation, $34.45. Let's go to some premier Kathy stocks. Let's go to Block Square, down 5.6% at 52. Let's go to Roku. Is it under 50? Wow, Roku is under $50, 49.39. This is Kathy's second biggest holding, down 7%. Zoom, we've got Zoom at under about 73, down 2.5%. So those are some of the Kathy stocks that are getting hit. Let's go back to Palantir. Palantir 769, down 4.7% on the day. There we go. The firm he wrote would also introduce new funds that shun fossil fuel-oriented stocks, move more aggressively to vote against management fans that are not making progress on. Well, there it is. Don't forget DNA. Yes, so I said this last night on Late Night Stock Talks, but I sold out of my DNA position, my Ginkgo Bioworks. I sold at 292. I am going to buy back in, but it was very obvious to me yesterday. It was a small position. It was a $6,000 position. So it was very obvious to me that Ginkgo was going to fall much more below. It is a speculative biotech company, but it's not really just biotech like drugs. It's more tech platforms. You guys can check it out if you're interested. I have some videos on the channel. But see, even like me, someone like me, I decided, look, it was not going to be smart to hold on to this company given what's going on in the macro. And I sold it yesterday. I will get back in. I'm very excited to get back in. But if I can get back in at like $2.10 versus $2.90, I would be very excited to do that. So I have a bit more dry powder as well. The only positions I didn't sell are positions that are so small for me, like Tesla, I only have 5 shares, or Palantir, where I have 2,000 shares. So I'm not selling those entirely. Even if I could take the tax loss and I could buy in after 31 days, I'd rather just DCA and for my mental health to not forget it. But if it's a mid-sized position like 5 to 10K, and if you don't want to see it go down to 3K in the short term, I would personally just snatch it up and keep going from there. Can't figure out DNA's TAM. Their TAM is big. And I'll do some analysis on it. But if you think of the synthetic biology TAM with the cost reducing 50% year over year, but the output increasing by 3%, they have a very big TAM to be able to take over a lot of different products in the physical markets. They said their TAM is bigger than the entire computer digital market because what they're doing with synthetic biology is all for physical products, which is bigger than digital products. But we will see long term. Bought Disney and Palantir. Interesting. I haven't seen people bought Disney in a while. Interesting. Okay. All right, everybody. That's it for me. It's 10 a.m. Thank you so much for being here. It's Thursday. First of all, have a great week. Shout out to everyone who's here in the chat. Came from Tom's stream. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate Tom. You guys didn't have to do that, so I very, very, very much appreciate you joining the stream. Obviously, your attention is what matters the most. Your time is what matters the most, and the fact that you choose to take Tom's advice and spend a couple of minutes with me on the stream, it means the world to me. So thank you very, very much for that. We'll have some videos coming out a little bit later up today and talking about the market. If you want to follow me on Twitter at AmitIsInvesting, you can follow along the day. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, definitely check out all the content that's there. Look, it's Thursday. We have one more day left in the week. This week started off not the best for me on Monday. I can guarantee, I can genuinely say Monday was a rough day for me. Tuesday was not the best. And then yesterday kind of turned some things around, started doing some different things. My point is the week doesn't have to be horrible, even if you have some horrible days. You can find some pockets of sunshine in a crappy week and see how you can take them to the next level and keep things going to end out the week on a good day. So thank you all for being here. Hope you all have a great, great week. And yeah, I'll probably see you for the market close at 3:45 today. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow or see you later today. Bye-bye.